Hi, I'm Daniel. Today we're exploring why scientists are taking a closer look at a biblical salt and its surprising connection to heart health and natural wellness. For thousands of years, biblical communities valued natural salt not just for flavor, but for preservation, nourishment, and daily health. Today, researchers are examining how naturally occurring minerals inside traditional salts may support cardiovascular function. Not all salt is the same. The mineral content can vary dramatically depending on its source and processing. One reason scientists are interested is the balance of trace minerals that work alongside the body's natural systems. Some studies suggest that mineral-rich diets may contribute to overall cardiovascular wellness when combined with healthy habits. But what made this particular biblical salt so different from many modern processed varieties? What's missing today? Ancient texts frequently mention salt as something valuable, essential, and deeply connected to everyday life. Ancient texts frequently mention salt as something valuable, essential, and deeply connected to everyday life. In the next section, we'll uncover the specific minerals scientists believe make this biblical salt worth studying today. One mineral attracting scientific attention is magnesium, a nutrient involved in hundreds of processes throughout the human body. Natural salts often contain trace amounts of magnesium that are removed during heavy industrial refining. Researchers are also studying potassium, another mineral known for supporting normal cardiovascular function. Together, minerals like magnesium and potassium may help explain why traditional diets continue to interest health researchers. The goal isn't replacing medical care. It's understanding how nutrition may complement a healthy lifestyle. What surprised many researchers was how complex natural salt becomes when dozens of trace minerals are present. Even tiny amounts of trace minerals can influence the overall nutritional profile of natural foods. Ancient communities had no laboratories, yet many valued mineral-rich resources found directly in nature. This ancient salt reveals modern technology now allows scientists to analyze these traditional resources in remarkable detail. Next, we'll examine where this biblical salt came from and why its origin may be just as important as its minerals. To understand this biblical salt, we first need to visit one of the most famous mineral-rich regions mentioned throughout history. For centuries, travelers described these mineral deposits as unlike almost anything found elsewhere in the world. Nature spent thousands of years concentrating minerals here, creating an environment that fascinated both ancient people and modern scientists. Unlike heavily processed products, traditional salt harvesting often preserved much of the original mineral profile. Scientists often begin by asking a simple question: what exactly is inside these crystals? The answer involves a surprisingly diverse collection of trace minerals embedded throughout the salt. Many researchers believe the interaction between these minerals may be more important than any single nutrient alone. This idea reflects a broader trend in nutrition research, studying foods as complete systems rather than isolated ingredients. Ancient wisdom and modern science don't always agree, but occasionally their paths seem to cross. In the next chapter, we'll explore the heart itself and why minerals play such a critical role in its daily function. Your heart beats over 100,000 times each day, relying on a delicate balance of minerals to function normally. Scientists know that minerals help support the electrical signals that coordinate every heartbeat. That's why researchers pay close attention to nutrients like magnesium and potassium when studying cardiovascular health. Natural mineral-rich foods have become an important area of research as scientists explore long-term wellness strategies. Interestingly, many traditional cultures consumed far fewer ultra-processed foods than most people do today. Researchers often study these traditional diets to identify patterns linked to overall health and longevity. While no single food provides all the answers, nutrient-rich dietary patterns continue to attract scientific interest. This brings us back to biblical salt and the question researchers continue asking about its mineral content. What happens when naturally occurring minerals remain present instead of being stripped away during processing? Next, we'll examine the fascinating science behind trace minerals and why researchers consider them worthy of study. Trace minerals are called trace because the body needs only small amounts, yet researchers consider them surprisingly important. Scientists often compare trace minerals to tiny pieces of a much larger nutritional puzzle. Natural salt deposits can contain dozens of these trace elements, each contributing to the salt's unique profile. Modern laboratory tools now allow scientists to measure these minerals with remarkable precision. Some findings have encouraged researchers to revisit traditional foods that were once considered ordinary. What's especially interesting is how natural foods often contain nutrients working together rather than in isolation. This concept has become one of the most important themes in modern nutrition science. Rather than searching for a miracle ingredient, scientists increasingly study complete dietary patterns. That perspective may help explain why ancient nutritional practices continue attracting scientific attention today. Next, we'll uncover why this biblical salt became so valuable throughout history and what made it worth preserving. Long before refrigeration existed, salt was one of the most valuable resources a community could possess. Entire trade routes developed around salt, connecting distant regions and fueling economic growth.
In many ancient societies, salt was considered so valuable that it sometimes functioned like currency.
The Bible references salt repeatedly, highlighting its importance in daily life, preservation, and symbolism.
People depended on salt not only to season food, but also to help preserve valuable supplies.
Because of its value, communities carefully protected access to high-quality, mineral-rich salt sources. Scientists today are fascinated by these ancient sources because many remained relatively untouched for centuries. These preserved deposits offer researchers a unique opportunity to study natural mineral compositions. The more researchers learn, the more questions emerge about traditional foods and natural nutrition.
Next, we'll explore what modern studies are revealing and why this ancient salt continues making headlines.
Recent research has renewed interest in how mineral-rich foods may contribute to overall cardiovascular wellness. Researchers aren't searching for magic solutions. They're investigating nutritional patterns supported by evidence.
One area of focus involves how naturally occurring minerals interact within a complete dietary pattern. Scientists often emphasize that no single ingredient determines health outcomes by itself.
Instead, long-term habits tend to have the greatest impact on overall wellness and quality of life. This perspective helps explain why researchers continue revisiting traditional dietary practices from the past. Many traditional foods contained fewer additives and underwent far less processing than modern alternatives. That doesn't make ancient diets perfect, but it does give scientists valuable clues worth exploring. With every new study, scientists gain a clearer picture of how nutrition influences long-term health. Next, we'll compare biblical salt to modern table salt and uncover the differences researchers are discussing.
At first glance, all salt may look similar, but scientists say the differences can begin beneath the surface.
Modern table salt is typically refined to create a highly uniform product used around the world. During refining, some naturally occurring minerals may be reduced or removed to achieve consistency. Natural mineral-rich salts often retain trace elements that contribute to their distinctive appearance and composition. Researchers are interested in these differences because nutrition is rarely about a single ingredient alone. Instead, many experts focus on how foods fit into broader dietary patterns and daily habits. This balanced perspective helps separate scientific investigation from exaggerated health claims. Ancient foods often become popular headlines, but researchers prefer asking careful, evidence-based questions. The story of biblical salt becomes most fascinating when history, nutrition, and modern science intersect.
In our final chapter, we'll summarize what scientists have discovered and what it may mean today.
After examining the evidence, one conclusion stands out. Scientists remain deeply interested in the mineral complexity of natural foods.
Rather than focusing on quick fixes, researchers continue exploring how nutrition supports long-term wellness. The story of biblical salt reminds us that ancient resources can still inspire modern scientific questions. Researchers continue studying how minerals interact within complete dietary patterns rather than acting alone. The bigger nutritional picture. Perhaps the most important lesson is that health rarely depends on a single food, nutrient, or ingredient. Instead, lasting wellness is often built through consistent habits practiced over months and years.
Ancient wisdom may not answer every modern question, but it can point researchers toward valuable areas of study.
As science advances, researchers continue uncovering new insights hidden within familiar foods.
Does biblical salt heal the heart better than medication? The evidence suggests a far more nuanced and fascinating story. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoy exploring biblical foods, natural health, and scientific discoveries, there's much more to uncover ahead.